I've called this episode of Sideways the end of violence, specifically racial violence. Can we join the plot of a living, actual story that ends in genuine racial harmony? These days, for those of us who profess Christian faith, it's worth reminding ourselves that the great story that we find ourselves in ends like this. The city does not need the sun, for the glory of God gives it light, and Jesus the Lamb is its lamp. The nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their splendor into it. Revelation 21, 23 and 24. This verse from the next to last chapter of the Bible brings to a conclusion a story that started with every person on the face of the earth originating from two parents. From one blood, God created every nation to dwell on the face of the earth. Acts 17:26. A principle at the heart of creation is therefore that no one is inferior to another because we are all part of the same race. The human race, all of us made in the image of God. It is absolutely not an elite group of the human race that are made in God's image. Absolutely not. The Bible then follows this vast narrative that sees the nations dispersing to inhabit lands far and near. And then right at the end of the story, as we've seen, they come back together again. Not to lose the cultural identity of each nation, but to celebrate each and every culture, bringing their cultural splendor into the great multicultural carnival that weaves through the streets of the heavenly city. What might be an example of forcibly trying to halt the plot line of this story towards heavenly peace between the nations? Halt it in its track and send it careering backwards? Well, right on the money would be booing the national football team as they took the knee as a declaration against racial violence and abuse. The kind of abuse that reared its ugly head at the expense of Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Bukayo Saka when England lost the Euro final to Italy. That is sending the plot line of the story backwards. So, if we're following the biblical story towards the final salvation of the world, a salvation propelled forward by Christ's victory on the cross, then we hear Pope John Paul II saying that this was a victory won over all the systems of contempt and hate in human beings. Precisely systems like racism. That is why there is a massive expression of racial harmony across the heavens on the final day. Shanti